Hi guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing my AFL Fantasy Team Reveal 3.0 as this will be recorded on a Thursday and released on Thursday in conjunction with the start of the AFL season. So this should be the final team, and I'll go through a couple of options that I'm still debating, but it's pretty much a set structure at this point. The only thing that can really change is some rookies. I'm hoping we get a couple more 200k rookies get named, which will help a little bit. But most of them are just sort of placeholders at the moment. That there's only a couple people that I don't think that I'm not 100% sure will get named. So before we get into it, remember to like and subscribe. This channel's going pretty well at the moment, and let's get some good growth on it going into the AFL season, especially round one. And I've got a couple more video ideas for midweek, especially now that most people will have their set structure and more for AFL Fantasy, and it'll be a lot less, I guess, based around who you can actually pick, but more who can we actually trade up to in certain brackets. A video about that. Obviously, you got my my tipping video to do. Probably my reaction to how players went, and then another video in trading, like who I'm personally going to trade up to. So there you have like 4 or 5 videos planned. But now let's get on to the team. So if I switch over, here we go. So the first guy at D1 is going to be Doherty, pretty self-standard, and he's actually my vice captain. He's just there for the whole season. Can't switch over yet. He's there for the whole season at D1. Hopefully, I don't like the options of Sinclair or Dawson or even Brayshaw at the moment. Sicily neither. Witherden won't play as much, and you go down to Stewart, Hearn, and Duncan. And Duncan's I think even in doubt for round one. So you have all those guys, all the top end guys that I really do not like at all. Like the next guy that I really like is coming, and so at D2, I actually am going for a little bit of a player of difference in Liam Duggan. This has changed based on the Yo news, and I needed to really keep my defense somewhat strong. It was going to get really weak. It was like I was almost going to have 4 rookies on field almost, and that was just not attainable, I guess. So I had to go up to Liam Duggan, and I think, look at these splits here. He's really good. I don't know how much I touted him in the defenders list that I've done, or whether he even got mentioned, but I think he's definitely a good player of difference here, and could easily, if West Coast actually decide like they did in the practice games just to tick it around the back, then he's going to rack up good scores. The next guy is another guy that I think had a really good practice game defender, Andrew McGrath, and that's why his ownership's at 18%. He has the ability to go, I think, 95 or 100, which will be good upside, and that will get him into that D6 role, I think, by the end of the season, as we'll see other players will shift down through dual positions, and he'll probably end up D5, D6 for me, but I'm hoping not to trade these 3 guys. And then next up we have Constable and defender again. So he's a guy that I think you sort of just have to know that you're going to be trading him out after 2 or 3 rounds, and just hope he can get a good couple of 80s, 90s or something like that, boost him up by 100k, and then use like 100k from around the ground plus another rookie's 80 or so k, and get up to the likes of someone around that 500k region in defense. There isn't much, but hopefully there'll be something by that time. But that's the basic plan with him. Then you got Jinby, who is going to be there for the long haul. Is going to be one of those, I think, rookies that we can just keep in till like round 10 or 11 or 12 even, and just sort of let him he'll jump out of the gates pretty quickly with price rise, but he'll keep on slowly rising, I think. As if we look at their fixture list, he has a pretty good start, then he has a rough little run here, and then he gets this run here, and I think I'll probably keep him till round 12, being honest, and then that will be enough time for him to gain probably 300k or so, and that 300k will, alongside other trades, will allow me to get up to a big another premium defense defender, I guess. And then at the D6 spot is, at the moment, Cowan, but it could be, it really depends, because at the moment I don't really have a way to have, I don't really want to have red dots, so I'm just picking Cowan there over the likes of Chesser and Wilmot, just because I think he will outscore those two. And that's the sole reason why, because I don't like Wilmot necessarily on the wing, and I don't, maybe Chesser now that, maybe now Chesser, because of Yo's injury, that he gets a little bit more roam across the field. So, and then here on the bench, obviously I've talked about them. I have Chesser and I've got Wilmot. And as you can probably tell, I've gone with, a lot of these guys that are defender mid status here are sort of staples in the team, such as Wilmot, 45% owned. Chesser is 55. Cowan's up to 32 already. Jinby, 58. And then Constable, we said, was 37. And even Andy McGrath at 17. So it is a very, I guess, with the back line, because I don't know what's going to happen with it. As much as I am with the midfields and forwards, I'm happy to go a little bit mainstream with them and just go with the guys that I'm happy with keeping. For example, I've gone with only one player difference in Duggan. Other than that, it's pretty stock standard. So now we go on to the midfield, and this midfield, there are a couple of guys. So if you look at, if I just go out to this, and you look at the price brackets here, Brayshaw and Oliver are around the same price, and those are the two guys I'm debating here, and then it will flip a little bit around them with other players. So if Brayshaw gets a tag on him, I might still go with him, because he's got this run of games here where he can really output a lot. But if he doesn't have a tag named on him, then it will definitely be Brayshaw, and then the mid two will be Bontempelli no matter what, as I think this year he's got greater responsibility and he will increase by 10 or so points. He'll go to 110 and that'll be enough. And even if he holds it like 105 or so, that's still good, and that will get him around that M3, M4 range. But if he holds 110, then he'll probably stay at M2. And then at the third position here, I have Petrarca, and as I was saying, this sort of can flip around a little bit, as I have sort of, if I take out Petrarca for a second, I've looked at Merritt as well in this position, and he's sort of dependent on a tagger or not. And then I was sort of like, oh, do I really want to leave a Melbourne guy out? But I think I can't really pick any of the Ruckman, and then I'm picking Brayshaw over Oliver, and I'm picking Merritt over Petrarca. So I sort of was like, yes, there is a case where I can pick no Melbourne player and still be fine with it. So at the moment it is Petrarca, but that's waiting on the tag that Merritt probably will get round one against the Hawks, but we'll have to wait and see. Then at M4 is the classic Tom Green. I guess he's very high owned, 25%, and then these guys are all 5. Bond's at 10 and Brayshaw's at 23, so that's pretty like not player of difference, except for really Petrarca here. So Green's sort of just there because you sort of saw him in the practice games, the intra club, and even the practice games, and one that we got stats for, he was pretty good in, so he should hold pretty good value. And then at M5 is a really big drop off for me, and this is what I was a little bit worried about. But I think Callahan can, if he just goes through his first 5 and has pretty good average, like I think that average will go up. I think he'll average closer to 75 or so, or maybe even 80. and that'll help him jump up to probably, I don't know exactly, but 530, 540, and by then hopefully I can get him out and get in a good, I wouldn't necessarily, it might have to be a double jump with how early I get him out, but we'll have to wait and see on that, because I really do want to get him up to a good, almost an underpriced midfielder. So if we look here, because I can probably catch up about 150 or so K in total. So maybe I can get him up to, there's no one really here. Hope maybe a Horn Francis or something like that, but I don't think so. I think his cash gem will be already there. So it's really just a basis of who's going to be available at that point, and we don't really know who's going to be available at by round 5 or 6 for Callahan to go up to. But there's other guys around him that I could get him up to if they outperform him and he doesn't do that well. So next up for me is pretty much the stock standard M6 to M8. I'll just put them in quickly. Mackenzie, and then we've got Phillips, and I think Phillips is probably the one that I'm least confident about. I think Mackenzie sticks his role just because I think with Hawks they sort of need that guy that actually can use the ball well, and I think Mackenzie is that guy. So I think he sticks. Ashcroft might play all 22 to be honest. And then you got Will Phillips there, who I think will do it right, but I don't think he'll average. He'll obviously do better than what is he priced at, like 35 or something like that. He'll do better than that, but I don't think he'll do like 80 or so. I think he'll do like 65 or so, and we got to get him just like a normal rookie, and we got to get him out quickly, I think. But that's, I think, most of it. Most of these guys on field, my midfield's probably not going to change for 4 or 5 weeks. And then these guys will start to go up to 750, 800k guys, hopefully, sometime. And then on the bench, I've got, it's a little bit risky, but because Holland could easily go out, but I think he'll do enough to get his name there for a little bit in the side for a couple of weeks. And then I've seen Philippou on field a lot, as I spoke in pre-season, that I think he's going to be on field for about half the owners. I just don't like how, for me, he has the ability to drop a really bad score. And if I actually go over to this and just go over to AFL and we look at when does St Kilda play, are they last game of the round? They are last game of the round. So now looking into that, I might do that and then have, but then again, the problem at the moment I'm having is that I do want to have people or players on the bench that play first so that I can loophole them in. But the problem with that is I don't want too many red dots. So I guess, like I was thinking there, is that Phillips, I don't think I'll have a midfield rookie that's not playing at the moment. So that's why I tried to think about having a Will Phillips on the bench, Philippou on field, and then switch him to utility, but I don't think that's going to work too well. So in the rucks, I've gone a little bit different because Rowan Marshall, I don't want to touch him if Tom Campbell's playing, but if Tom Campbell isn't playing, then I'll look at bringing Rowan Marshall back in, and it will change. Petrarca probably has to go down to someone a little bit lower, and that'll be the only change really. But my 2 ruckmen are Witts and Darcy at the moment, as I think those 2 are the best. I think English has a really bad round 1. He's still at 46% owned, so I think people are waiting for team news for that to happen. And then at R3, I've got Samson Ryan, as he plays. Oh no, sorry, not Ryan. I've got Mick Andrew actually, as due to the fact that Ryan plays early, and then I can just do something like that, as I don't think he'll play, and I think McAndrew will be my captaincy option. I can now change Doherty to vice captain. It won't allow me because I don't have another vice chosen. So I'll do this even though I know that's not my captain choice. So Doherty is vice captain this time, and I'll put who I think will be the captain, but it'll probably end up being McAndrew if Doherty has a good run, and then McAndrew will sub out for Darcy and I'll get Doherty double points. But like I was saying with the Ruckman, Witsy has a really good run against Laddams, and I think he'll dominate that game. I think he'll put up a 120 or so, maybe even a 115. And then Darcy has St Kilda, who has the shared ruck, so he won't have necessarily the best game, I don't think. But if we look at what he did last year against St Kilda, 2022, I know it was different players. He put up a 45. Well, that doesn't help. Did he play them again? Nope. How did he go in 2021? 2021, he played them and didn't play. And then they didn't play him again. So he hasn't played St Kilda in the last 2 years. And then in 2020, he put up a 34 against them. So maybe Darcy isn't the best choice, but I have confidence in him to overcome previous outcomes and for him to, I guess, be the second best ruck. But I'm really hoping that Marshall doesn't get assigned with Campbell so I can go up to him. So then you've got here my captain for week 1 and my, I guess, best F1 is Dunkley. I think that's pretty standard at this point. And then I've gone for Taranto because I don't think I really want to go 3 of the midfielders from GWS, as well as we've had a role change sort of for Cornelio, and it's sort of similar to Taranto. So having those boys are both going to have similar scoring outputs, I think, and for 25 cheaper, I'd rather Taranto, especially because he's a little bit higher percentage owned. Then my F3 is Rosie, as I think he gets the role that we want. And then F4 is Golden, as I think he just had too good of a preseason to leave out, especially now with his ownership going to be 40% going into round 1. Rosie 47, so this is pretty much the standard forward line for like half the comp. And then we've got McLean, just because there literally is no one that I can get up to, and McLean is the best. And I just got to hope that preseason game isn't what we're going to see from him, and hopefully he comes out and absolutely smashes it, because there's only 12% owned now, and he was, I believe, at least 18, but he could have been even higher than that before that preseason game. And then basically the difference between, I guess, Sheasel and Philippou is I think Sheasel has a better scoring potential, and thus that's the reason why he's on field for me over Philippou, and he also has West Coast round 1, whereas Philippou has Freo. So Philippou probably comes in round 3, probably round 3, maybe, depending on the positions that Sheasel and Philippou get. So that's those guys. And then for the forward bench, I've got Green, but this could turn into Sturt as well, just because they're the same price. And then I've got Davey as well on here. And then my utility is just Roberts at the moment, but that will probably change, and that'll go to another 200k guy that's debuting, as there's a couple of 200k guys, so we'll see with them. So basically what I have here is, what do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got probably 4 guys or so that could change. No, actually 5. They could change based on the teams that we get at 6 p.m. So I thought I'd record this now before. Currently it's 12. I'd record it now and get it uploaded, because I don't know if I can get it uploaded in enough time for you guys to be able to see it before the first game kicks off. So that's the reason behind that. And so that's my team for round 1. I'll just put the emergency on these guys. It's not too important. Oopsie. And Hollins, and then it would be on Davey, as I think Davey will be the best out of those two. So that's my round 1 team. There'll be another video probably recorded at 6 p.m. to be released tomorrow about the players named, for the rookies named. And then I've also got some other videos planned to release with regards to just some other player comparisons before round 1 kicks off. So if I go back to this screen, that's the team. And remember to like and subscribe, and there'll be more content out like I just said. And I'll see you guys in another video. Thanks, guys.